fake stuff and said a lot of stuff that, a person that you claim that you cool with, you would never say. So that was my big issue with him. I just know, character take you a long way, and I just don't agree with the character, actions that he took.
The problem is Terence Crawford now is really only going to want to fight for big money, and there's only certain fights that can generate that kind of money.
Terence Crawford lashed out at Floyd Mayweather following the release of their sparring footage, making it clear he wasn't pleased with Floyd's actions. Crawford said he had expected a higher level of respect from someone who always claimed to be on good terms with him. He voiced his frustration that what was meant to stay behind closed doors during training ended up being made public, emphasizing that such a move should never have come from a fellow champion.
I had disliked a lot of things that he was saying, and how he was acting, being that, me, I'm a real individual. I just felt like, we was all cool at one point in time. And, when the Errol Spence fight was getting mentioned and talked about and, signed, I just felt like he just did a lot of fake stuff and said a lot of stuff that, a person that you claim that you cool with, you would never say. So that was my big issue with him. I just know, character take you a long way, and I just don't agree with the character, actions that he took.
Eddie Hearn's recent remarks about Terence Crawford possibly retiring highlight just how divided opinions are in the boxing world about his future. On one side, Hearn believes Crawford has already done everything needed to secure his place among the sport's legends, becoming undisputed in multiple weight classes, dominating top-tier opponents, and silencing all doubts about his greatness. Walking away now, while still at the very top, would leave his legacy untouchable, much like other great champions who retired on a high. At the same time, Hearn admits the financial side of boxing can't be ignored. With the rise of Saudi-backed mega events and cross-promotional spectacles, Crawford could earn career-high paydays even in fights that don't necessarily add to his legacy. The promise of tens of millions might ultimately be more tempting than preserving the perfect ending. And Hearn, as a promoter, understands that balance better than most.
Sorry?
Should Crawford retire?
Do you know what? Someone said the other day, and it's very true, because I actually said it about Usyk. We've got a real tendency, haven't we, to kind of try and retire people off. Do you know what I mean? Like I said with Usyk, I think now he should retire. And everyone's like, why do you want him to retire? It's like, I just think it's a great way to go out. I actually also think that Crawford could move down and win a world title at 160. And that would make him, what, 6 division champ? 5, 35, 40, 47, 54, 6 division champion. But the problem is Terence Crawford now is really only going to want to fight for big money, and there's only certain fights that can generate that kind of money. So Shakur, who was obviously very close to him, seemed to say, so maybe that's it.
Floyd Scoffield believes Terence Crawford should consider stepping away from the sport while still on top. From his perspective, Crawford has already achieved everything that defines greatness, reigning as the pound-for-pound king, conquering multiple weight classes, and defeating some of the toughest names of his generation. Scoffield isn't questioning Crawford's skills or accomplishments, but he warns that continuing to fight could invite unnecessary risks. If Crawford does decide to return, Scoffield argues it should only be against the new breed of challengers, like Virgil Ortiz or Frank Martin, who represent the next wave of hungry contenders. This viewpoint reflects more than caution. It also highlights the natural generational shift in boxing, where young lions are eager to test themselves against proven champions. Still, Scoffield's comments carry a tone of respect. In his eyes, Crawford has nothing left to prove, and retiring now would preserve his undefeated record and cement his legacy at its absolute peak.
So, I feel like Crawford, he could retire if he wants. I feel like if he does get another fight, I would love to see him in there with Virgil or Jerron. I feel like those are both great fights, but those are fights we just got to see. We just got to see those fights before. I feel like those are the only 2 fights I would entertain.
Not a rematch, maybe a rematch with Crawford and Canelo?
I feel like it wasn't close enough. If
Valid.
it was close, maybe, but it just was like, it wasn't close.
The debate over a dream matchup between Floyd Mayweather and Terence Crawford continues to spark heated arguments among boxing fans. Online discussions often circle back to the question, what if both fighters met at their absolute peak? Mayweather's unmatched defense, ring IQ, and ability to neutralize opponents made him nearly untouchable in his era. On the other hand, Crawford's versatility, killer instinct, and finishing ability have allowed him to break down every fighter put in front of him. But the reality today is very different. Mayweather is well past his prime, and the reflexes and stamina that once set him apart are no longer the same. A present-day matchup would lean more toward entertainment than a true test of greatness. That's why many insist this belongs in the dream fight category, a battle of legends that fans will debate forever, but never actually see inside the ring.
So yeah, everybody, so this is a good question that the ring put out. So Terence Crawford versus Floyd Mayweather, a fantasy fight that will never happen. Now, this is a really good question. Who will win between these two? Me personally, if this was old Floyd Mayweather, well, I'm going to say pretty boy Floyd, I'm talking about like the younger version of Floyd Mayweather, Floyd Mayweather wins. You're talking probably prime Floyd Mayweather versus prime Terence Crawford. You could see Floyd Mayweather beating Terence Crawford, but you're talking about money Floyd versus Terence Crawford. I see Terence Crawford stopping him in the later rounds due to Floyd Mayweather's passive style and Philly shell. I believe he'll melt. Terence Crawford would just break him, I think. People forget what Manny Pacquiao was able to do on Floyd Mayweather, have success with him certain parts of the fight, and people just need to see, Floyd Mayweather's, I would say, fights, later down in the years. I think Crawford would just be able to break that defense. I don't know. The thing is about Terence Crawford, he has a very, very awkward style, very awkward foot movement and footwork. This is the thing. A lot of people were thinking, oh, nobody beats Floyd. Or if you try to compare somebody else, no, this man will beat Floyd. Floyd would beat everybody. I don't think it's a case of Terence Crawford, everybody. I think Terence Crawford would have been the man to actually beat Floyd. Honestly, for what he did to Canelo Alvarez, he beat a 168 Canelo Alvarez. 168 Canelo Alvarez.
Boxing experts often caution that numbers and accolades don't always tell the full story when comparing fighters head-to-head. Mayweather's flawless 15-0 record, maintained across multiple eras, is a milestone few in the sport will ever touch. Crawford, meanwhile, holds the distinction of becoming undisputed in more than one weight class, something Floyd never accomplished during his career. But this is where comparisons get complicated. They fought in different times, against different styles, and under different circumstances. Floyd's resume is stacked with global icons and record-breaking pay-per-views, while Crawford's legacy is built on dominating opponents in decisive, often one-sided fashion. Analysts stress that greatness isn't just about what's written on paper. It also comes down to timing, style, and the unique context of each era.
Floyd Mayweather versus Terence Crawford is the topic of this video, and someone posted this: number of world champion fighters beaten, Floyd with 23, Terence with only 11. But my response to this is, being more accomplished does not mean you're better than someone. By example, Canelo has 18 former world champions beaten, Terence has 11. So you could argue that Canelo's more accomplished. Meanwhile, Terence just whooped him over the course of 12 rounds over the weekend. We all saw it. Plus, more accomplished fighters lose to lesser accomplished fighters all the time, so that's a bad argument. Let's talk skill for skill. Terence Crawford has knockout power in both hands. He can switch stances. He's not a stationary target. He has good footwork. He knows how to counterpunch. He knows how to fight on the outside and on the inside. He can make it dirty. He knows how to box and he knows how to fight. There's a difference. Guys like Shakur Stevenson, for example, they know how to box. When it comes to actually getting down and dirty, the jury is still out on one Shakur Stevenson, just by example. Terence Crawford, I think, if you look at the names on Floyd's list here, Manny Pacquiao, Canelo, Marcos Maidana, Cotto, and the list goes on and on, I think Terence Crawford has a shot at beating all those guys. I don't think anybody on that list jumps off the page and goes, oh my God, I think he smokes Terence Crawford. You can't say that about anybody on any of these guys' lists and names here. So yeah, that's my take on this, man. Maybe the only guy is Gennady Golovkin. I could see Gennady Golovkin giving Terence a really hard fight, especially at that weight. But remember, Canelo lost to Gennady. Gennady shouldn't even be on this list. He's only on the list because the judges are in Canelo's back pocket. So, you know, that's a whole nother argument. But yeah, that's my take on this, guys. Skill for skill, Terence Crawford might be one of the best of all time, and that's okay. Like, it's okay to accept that, guys. It's fine. Let me know what you think in the comments below, whether you agree or disagree. It doesn't matter. Just join the discussion, subscribe for more, and leave a like if you enjoyed the time spent. Thank you. You are all appreciated.
Zab Judah's perspective carries real significance. As someone who has personally shared the ring with Floyd Mayweather and knows what it takes to operate at boxing's highest level, when Judah points to Terence Crawford as the standout of this generation, it highlights how each era produces its own king. He even reminded fans that Canelo Alvarez once hinted Crawford could surpass Floyd, a comment that set off endless debates in the boxing world. For Judah, what separates Crawford is the way he has dominated elite opponents while moving seamlessly through multiple weight classes. His timing, power, and composure haven't faded, no matter the division. Judah's praise almost feels like a passing of the torch, a recognition that while Mayweather defined his era, it's Crawford who now sits on the throne.
The punch can knock him out, you know what I'm saying? The size will be a factor. None of that was nothing.
How did you score it?
Huh?
How did you score the fight?
I think I gave Canelo about 3 rounds. About
Really?
3 rounds. Yeah, about 3 rounds.
Oh,
How did you score? You just score about sound about fair?
What's that?
Sounds about right?
I had it closer, but there's loads of different scores.
Okay, I had 2 rounds.
You gave him 2 rounds.
I had 2 rounds. Yeah, he ain't do anything. I gave him a possible 3 rounds. So if I play space, we gave him 2 impossible.
Where did you put him in the all-time list? 5-weight world champion,
Who?
3-weight undisputed, Terence Crawford.
Who?
Terence Crawford.
He's number 1 right now. He's number 1. This is his generation. This is his timeline. He is the king right now.
Just seen in the press conference, Canelo said that Crawford's better than Mayweather. What did you think?
He's not lying. He fought him. He should know. How can somebody tell somebody that fought both of these guys, you know, he know.
Yeah.
If anybody would know, Canelo would know.
What do you think's next for both?
I don't know.
Too early?
I don't know.
You like a rematch?
Not a rematch. I don't think so. Rematches always sound good. But in a rematch, it'll be the same thing.
Yeah. Cool.
Matter of fact, in a rematch, I'm predicting stoppage earlier.
Yeah.
I
think
so too. Yeah, I think so.
Zab,
My boys are dogs,
Appreciate it.
trust me.
thank you.
I was watching Neil City. That's right.
Crawford stressed that Canelo's opinion carries more weight than that of most fans or analysts, simply because Canelo has shared the ring with both him and Floyd. At the same time, Crawford pointed out an important distinction: the timing of those fights. Mayweather fought Canelo when he was still young, developing and far from his prime, whereas Crawford faced a fully established champion at super middleweight. That difference, Crawford argued, is critical. Beating a seasoned, experienced Canelo is not the same as schooling a raw, up-and-coming version. In highlighting this, Crawford defended the value of his own victory while still respecting the historical context of Mayweather's win.
He was in the ring with both of us, so a lot of people, you know, they can say what they want, but he's actually been in the ring with both of us. You know, one where he felt like he was at the best, you know, and another where he felt like he was at a disadvantage when he had a rehydration clause and he was younger. So, you know, I don't know, you know, I don't go off of that. You know, Floyd is the best fighter, you know, in his era, and I feel like I'm the best fighter in my era.
One thing that I thought was really interesting about the fight, I always love watching you switch stances as effortlessly as you do. You didn't do that a lot in this fight. You didn't have to. Were you expecting not to have to?
No, I felt like I could have, but, you know, why do something when something else is working?
Easy answer.
Jeff Mayweather came to Floyd's defense by reminding fans that context matters when comparing legacies. When Floyd faced Canelo, he was already past his physical prime and relying heavily on ring IQ, sharp reflexes, and precise timing rather than youthful speed or explosiveness. Even so, he managed to completely shut down a dangerous young challenger, something Jeff says people tend to overlook. From his perspective, comparing the Canelo that Floyd fought to the version Crawford defeated isn't a fair equation, because both men were at very different stages of their careers. Jeff's stance emphasizes how boxing history often gets simplified, while the true circumstances of each fight tell a deeper story.
Well, also, if we remember, Canelo that time was a razor-thin decision. Floyd won, majority decision. C.J. Ross had it with what a lot of people had as a draw. And then the other two judges scored it for Floyd, of course.
Yeah, nobody had it.
And that was a Floyd at the top of his game with a very green Canelo with very little experience, and he still took him, into deep waters. So
yeah, what was Canelo? What, 20 something? 20 what? 23, 25?
Yeah, he was. Very, very young in the game, obviously.
Very young. He had more fights than Floyd, and he lost.
Yeah, but
man, that was 30-something years old, 36.
But Floyd was clearly at the top of his career, and Canelo had fought a lot of people. But
how you at the top of your career in your prime? You in your prime? You ain't in your prime when you're at 36. That's not your prime.
Did he lose? 20s. I mean,
your prime is in your 20s.
It's different for different people.
Yeah, okay. Well, so, and that's why Canelo is saying what he's saying.
But want to
make himself look like he did something great.
Buddy McGirt broke down Crawford's performance by highlighting the complete control he displayed inside the ring. From dictating the pace and distance to choosing when and how the exchanges happened, Crawford never once allowed Canelo to dictate terms. Unlike many of Canelo's previous opponents who got drawn into his rhythm, Crawford shut down those traps and kept the fight on his terms. McGirt noted that this kind of mastery was reminiscent of how Floyd Mayweather used to outthink rivals, but with Crawford's own twist of calculated aggression and sharp finishing ability. In McGirt's eyes, this wasn't just another victory. It was a clear statement that Crawford deserves a place in conversations about the greatest technical boxers in history.
Yes.
Like, what fight were they watching?
Right.
I mean, it's. I don't know, man. I don't know what some of these guys be doing in this game, man. Some people, in situations like that, they should ask them, listen, just turn in your license, bro. Because there's no way in hell the fight was that close.
Right.
I mean, come on, man. It's just, it's not fair. It's not fair. You get a guy like Terence got here and dominate from beginning to end, and then you find out he needed the last 2 rounds to win. That's scary, man.
It is, and you see how you just mentioned scary. Now, a lot of people are saying, buddy, that type of beating, he's not going to want a rematch. But looking at those scorecards and knowing that, hey, you wasn't too far behind, even though, he did mention that, he's better than Mayweather. But, I mean, what's your thoughts? Do you feel like that was such a beating that Canelo wouldn't want a rematch?
No, I think that, in all honesty, personally, I think that Canelo's at that stage in his career right now, that it's a rematch he don't need. He don't need it. You know what I mean? What we saw that night, that's the stage Canelo's at right now. He's fought everybody, he's did everything, but, he passed the torch to the right guy. He passed the torch to the right guy. He lost it to Terence fair and square, and he passed the torch. So if you're gonna have another fight, cool, but you don't need to. You have nothing. He has nothing to prove. He fought Terence and nobody else would.
One analyst pointed out that Floyd Mayweather's global stardom wasn't just built on his skills, but also on his charisma and ability to play both hero and villain. His undefeated record became a spectacle in itself. People tuned in either to admire his brilliance or to see if he would finally be beaten. Terence Crawford, on the other hand, has never been a massive pay-per-view draw, But experts argue that this doesn't diminish his greatness inside the ring. In fact, some even suggest Crawford might surpass Floyd in terms of raw ability. His seamless stance switching, mastery of distance, and finishing instinct set him apart. While Floyd built his legacy on defense and caution, Crawford blends calculation with ruthlessness, making him just as hard to defeat, but often more thrilling to watch.
Terence Crawford versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. Who wins this fight? I'm going with Terence Crawford, and I don't think that's unpopular or crazy to say. I think most people will agree with me. I understand Floyd Mayweather has a lot of fans out there, but the truth is, as great as Floyd Mayweather is, Terence Crawford is one of one. And I say that because who else has knockout power in both hands, is able to switch stances between orthodox and southpaw so seamlessly while having great footwork? It's not like Terence Crawford is some stationary target or a flat-footed fighter that's going to be chasing Floyd around. Terence Crawford knows how to cut the ring off. He has tremendous ring IQ, and not only is he a great boxer, but he's a great fighter. He'll be able to make it dirty. If he is on the inside with Floyd, that power will carry him far. And I just don't see how Floyd will be able to beat a Terence Crawford. I really don't see it. I understand Floyd's defense is incredible, but he is smaller than Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford would have a significant reach advantage on Floyd Mayweather. I believe Terence Crawford would also be taller than Floyd Mayweather, as well as all the skillful and technical aspects of what I just laid out prior. So I don't understand how anybody could pick Floyd Mayweather to beat Terence Crawford. Styles make fights, and I believe Terence has the style to beat one Floyd Mayweather. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Whether you agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. Join the discussion, subscribe for more, and leave a like if you enjoyed the time spent. Thank you. You are all appreciated.
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned for more updates and breakdowns coming your way soon. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss the next one.